She home? Could we have her on right now?
I asked her if she wanted to do a cameo, but Mrs. Mises is shy.
Mrs. Mises.
That makes sense, and I like it.
The people want to see you, babe.
Hey, Heise, we have a shout out from Greg. You know Greg. You've met Greg. He loves the AK in the background, and that's a really great opportunity to have you address.
What? Okay, we can do that.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Mike,
It's Greg looking for this.
all right. Now listen. I mean, I knew we didn't plan on talking about this, but the recent school shooting down in Florida, right? Every time there's a shooting of this nature, we vehemently have the Second Amendment discussion. We got to ban guns. We got tougher gun controls, common sense gun laws. This debate always happens before the blood is dry, you know what I'm saying, before the bodies are cold. It's really tough, man, because as a gun owner, it sickens me, and as a father, that this shit happened, you know? But the automatic answer of the left to have this gun control debate, I mean, it's fucking outrageous. It's outrageous. Like, everybody who
turn off your Australian fan base.
Everybody who owns guns is for background checks. Are you against background checks, Mike Heise?
Yeah.
You are against background checks?
All right, hit him with it.
Yeah, because what that could be because people would say, "Oh, why?" But they tend to leave out of their viewpoint that our main opposition is government and not necessarily the problems that they are addressing. So the problem that background checks brings up is if they have a database, then they can just pick us off one by one if they ever wanted to. I mean, look what happened with Kokesh back in 2013, or whatever. Yeah, 2013. Say we won about him, but look what happened. They knew he had a gun because of the video.
We didn't say anything about him right now.
Well, I'm just using him as an example. So they knew he had a gun because he made that video, and what did they do? They had helicopters over the house. They had trucks. They kicked down the door and threw a flashbang. You can't win. Mm-hmm. You can't. There's no winning against something like that. And if they can do that to us one by one and make examples out of us, there's a chilling effect on everybody else, and they have all of the data. You know what I mean? They have all the data. The whole point of the Second Amendment is to
protect us against
tyrants.
Government.
Yeah, if it ever got down to it.
And so Keith had posted that awesome meme, and I borrowed it, and I've been using it in any debate on this subject matter, which is when a leftist usually say, well, there's nothing we could do against the government anyway. So there's no because if you're going to
tell that to Afghanistan,
right? And it's that picture of he actually posted a picture of a Vietnamese farmer. Would they whoop the American government's ass? You know what I mean? So of course, this is the necessity for the Second Amendment. It's got nothing to do about hunting or none of that shit. That's just part of the delusion. And I personally believe. I mean,
I wouldn't call it a delusion because that's another thing that gets completely ignored is the fact that guns are used overwhelmingly in defense.
Right.
It's not even close.
I believe that we're dealing with false flags, though. This is my personal opinion. These events are a made-for-TV movie to get people's emotions. After Sandy Hook didn't happen. Mm-hmm. All right?
It's been so long since I dove into that rabbit hole.
Well, it's
a
here.
Scary rabbit hole to dig into now. Because now everybody forgot about it. Everybody forgot about the real questionable shit that happened. So now anytime you hear Sandy Hook brought up, it's...
Whatever happened to the dude leading the charge? He was an expert witness at Columbine, and he was a principal. And
Wolfenstein?
Halbit.
Wolfgang.
Yeah.
Wolfgang.
Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein 3D.
Wolfenstein. The other guy's name was Fetzer, too. Jim Fetzer.
Yeah, but the only time that gets brought up is, and he thinks that Sandy Hook didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? So that's used as a talking point against you if you have any questions about any mass shooting now at all. Because everybody forgot about it. Everybody forgot about Robbie Parker.
I know. I was just showing that video today.
Everybody forgot about Gene Rosen. Gene Rosen's a fucking hero.
Guy's a hero.
Look him up. Hashtag.
Listen, I don't know if you've seen some of the absurdities for this current one, but the young girl who said she was running in the hallways after the gunfire with the kid that did the shooting.
And
he
said,
had-
"I'm surprised it wasn't you shooting."
And
That's what she said
And
to
he
him.
looked doped up because this is my opinion. I don't know shit. You're just listening to me rant, everybody. I don't have any intel. What I believe, though, they dropped a drugged up MK Ultra slave, dropped him there as a patsy, opened fire probably with two, Navy SEALs or whatever the hell they use, whatever dark ops, and and they really killed people. They really kill people, in some of these situations.
And just for people who don't know, because there's such a visceral reaction to these kinds of claims, look up Operation Gladio. They really have orchestrated shootings and stuff like that for political gain, and actually did them. You know what I mean? Not just like Operation Northwoods, where it was like on the table and then it got vetoed to the last. Like, they've actually done these things.
Yeah.
Now, is that to say that this is one of them? I don't know. It's pretty hard, and I've been so busy that it's very difficult for me right now to keep up with the news. But I've been listening to a lot of Jordan Peterson, so I kind of take a different viewpoint looking at it right now as far as like what the hell is going on to like our psyche? Why is this stuff happening?
What about the fact that every single one of these people that
They're on
go to do
drugs.
this are on drugs? So, I mean, what's your opinion on that? Is that what it is? So, do you need a mental health exam before you get a gun? I mean, would that even stop something like this from happening? What about the fact that there are no gun-free zones? I know these are rhetorical questions speaking to you, Heise. I know how you feel on this, but it really frustrates me because it seems absurd that every single time it's happening at a gun-free zone, and the immediate screaming is that we need more government. I mean, look at Chicago. There is.
Well,
no guns in
what's
Chicago.
interesting. Another interesting viewpoint is if there was shootings at Wawa or Walmart or something consistently, right? Like if there was consistent problems at these areas, eventually they would be held liable for not taking charge of their security. I mean, I work in a law office. I literally have cases like this where it's a party town, fights happen, and because it's known that fights happen, if you don't take if you don't have any kind of measures to deal with something like that.
You farted,
And
bro.
no, not this time. I did earlier. That was my chair.
Go, keep going. Sorry.
But the point is
Take the
who do you
wind out
sue?
yourself.
You can't sue the school. You know what I mean? Like, whereas with private property, the owner is responsible. But that all these standards that are normal and actionable don't apply to the government.
Sure. Hey, what would happen? I mean, I think talking on this subject, where your bar is, like how much regulation needs to take place. Are you an anarchist still?
Philosophically, yeah.
Sure. But there can never be a real anarchist because you got to work within the structures, right? I'm going to go back to our 2013.
I call it the reality problem. You know what I mean?
The reality problem. Explain that.